Did you see the fire in the sky? Did ya?
Did ya?
Did you see the fire in the sky? Did ya?
Did ya?
UFO came from the sky, zipped right up and zapped that guy. Did you see the fire in the sky? Did ya?
Cheers. Watch this.
Did ya? Wow, that's better.
In 1975, 6 loggers driving through the forests of Arizona saw something hovering in a clearing.
One of them got out of the truck, walked towards the light,
And the other 5 men watched their friend get blasted backwards by a beam of light and disappear. For 5 days, Travis Walton was missing. Police suspected murder. Search parties combed the mountains.
but then he came back alive and
And
naked.
what followed? And wicked. And
Naked.
what followed wasn't just and Lincoln?
Naked.
Oh, and naked. Oh, he definitely
What did
came
I
back.
blur?
And afraid.
And
Alive, naked, and afraid. What followed wasn't just a UFO story. It turned into one of the most famous battles in paranormal history. Believers, skeptics, investigators, journalists, all arguing over what really happened in those woods. And nearly 50 years later, that debate still hasn't ended because the 6 men who were there all swear it happened and have never once changed their story.
So tonight we are beaming up to the center of this case and we are covering the abduction of Travis Walton. Welcome to Horror Whiskey Company. I'm your host, Jamie fucking
And I'm your
Knutson.
perpetual guest, Pete. That's me.
Ooh, welcome to Horror Whiskey Company. If you've ever not been here before, we're covering the weird, the wicked, and we're wasted the whole time. I'm mostly wasted. So
I get there.
if you want to see who's drunker, stay to the end. If you want to see who's
we take a
forever the
breathalyzer at the
drunkest,
end.
please,
Ooh, that'd be a fun addition.
like and subscribe and follow, sign up for notifications, tell all your friends to do it.
Yep.
And
Go on their
from there.
phones and like and subscribe. Don't even tell them
Yeah.
what you're doing. Just do it anyways. It'll
Just
be fun.
ask
It's
for
a little
people's
prank.
passcodes. Go out to the bar tonight and like hit on some
Yeah.
girls or guys, whoever you're into, ladies or men, and just ask for their phone and then just follow their follow our podcast on their YouTube.
We really appreciate it because it helps us get more things done, like drinking Cosmos.
Yes, if we get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we are going to make Peter drink Cosmos for a year straight.
Yep. And that's hilarious.
We're almost there. We're getting closer every day. But if you didn't know, it's because we didn't tell you. But I guess, we did. This is the abduction of Travis Walton, not related to the Walton Walmart family. He's actually from a small podunk town in Snowflake, Arizona.
I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think we can go on the record and say that he's not related to Sam Walton.
Oh, fair enough.
I didn't get his 23andMe results.
To our knowledge, he's not related to Sam Walton. So,
what
are you drinking, Pete? What do you got for us tonight?
I am drinking the Volksbier Vienna. It is an amber lager from Withy Brewing, coming in at a solid 5.5 IBU 25. Is that the bitterness IBU?
International Bitters Unit.
All right, well, it's got 25 of them. So I don't know what that means, but it won gold at the 2020 Great American Beer Festival. Jamie, what are you drinking? I see you got something tasty cooking up over there.
So I'm ripping Pink Whitney shots.
Yeah, dude,
hockey
same here.
Season's back, baby.
It's so fucking back. Guys, we are literally nothing affiliated with Pink Whitney, with New Amsterdam vodka, anything like that. But if you love hockey, you should love drinking a very, very girly vodka.
Yes,
okay, you're out there, you're on the ice, you're a big tough guy watching your tough guy hockey. You need to keep your balance, right? It's all about give and take in life. And to balance your big, tough hockey persona, you need to drink a totally pink, girly drink. Pink Whitney is where it's at.
Big ups to Ryan Whitney for drinking pink lemonade vodka shots and making it a thing. But, so I have...
The main event, though, what do you got for us?
Like I always do, I concocted a cocktail special for this occasion. Little minx.
Crafter you.
So what I got here...
I did not call you a minx. I would like that to go on the record.
So this is what I call a fire in the sky.
That's Smoke on the Water. But at one point in that song, they say, and fire in the sky.
The fire in the sky. So this is a fire in the sky. And so what it is, it's got Fireball in it. And it's then topped with Sky Vodka.
Oh my God.
And then you got lemon juice. You have a honey simple syrup and Angostura bitters.
Oh my God. How is it? Is it awful?
It's not terrible. Everything's better with citrus.
So awesome. Oh my God, dude.
But I have a little white lie.
I love that we have a cocktail mixologist on retainer, aka you, because that is a genius. I like what you did with it.
So, full disclosure, they didn't have Sky Vodka at the liquor store, and so I feel like the only thing I could do is find the closest one. Which, if you know Sky Vodka, it's considered one of the higher end vodkas. So I decided to go to the very low tier, and I got Svedka.
Oh, dude, you know what? You were 100% on. So Sky Vodka and Svedka are both going to be Swedish vodkas.
Perfect. That's what I thought. So we got ourselves Svedka instead of Sky because I couldn't get it. So if you make this at home, this will be made with Sky Vodka instead.
Oh, apparently Sky is an American-made vodka. I had to look it up. So I'm just talking out my ass. Svedka is, though.
So so if you ever dare, I definitely overpowered it with lemon juice because I didn't want...
It probably needed that.
And then it got a subtle hit of cinnamon. And then I also kind of drowned those out with Angostura bitters. And so basically the aftertaste is definitely cinnamon. It's not like that fireball bomb that you're going to get. So it's basically like you're taking you're tasting a margarita with a hint of cinnamon at the end.
I'm not going to lie. This sounds like something I would have made when I was 18 or 19 when it's all you had. You're just throwing things pretty much. You made jungle juice.
Precisely.
And put it in a coupe glass.
Well, I was hoping to find a passion fruit Sky or some sort of flavor of Sky Vodka to kind of
all right. Beggars can't be choosers. Whoa. Exactly. Said at the same time. Sweet, dude. So I'm pumped. That's such a good cocktail. I'll make one tomorrow.
Before we get started, this might be news to you.
Oh.
But it's news to everyone else. But our next episode will be in person.
What?
Yeah. This is totally not like me, but I quit my job.
Something crazy happened.
I quit my job and I'm coming to work in Steamboat for the next month. And so I have a flight on Thursday. I will be there Thursday night. So next episode will be filmed together.
What? That's crazy. All right, we're going to have to think of something. The next episode is going to have to be a banger then.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be there for
the drunkest one yet. You ready, dude?
I'm ready.
We're going to get in the way back machine, dude. It's November 5th, 1975. Turkey Springs, about 10 miles from Heber, Arizona, near the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest in eastern Arizona. It's fully dark by the time the logging crew wraps up for the day, the kind of dark that swallows everything once the sun drops behind the trees. 7 men climb into a single work truck. That's a tight fit, but we are talking about the 70s here. Bench seats abound. Jamie, who's sitting on whose lap? Do you think I get to sit on your lap? Jesus? No, Jesus takes the wheel, dude.
No, you'd sit on my lap for sure because I've gained so much weight. I'm not sitting on your lap, dude. I'm a fatty.
All right, dude. Well, it's a
I think
bumpy
that
road, so
17-year-old
keep it together, all right?
Yeah. That 17-year-old kid's the one that's definitely taken a lap. But I thought there were 6.
7 in total. 6 witnesses.
Oh.
Remember one of our witnesses gets
yeah.
blasted.
So anyways, the men toss the chainsaws in the back of the truck. Everyone is exhausted.
You see, the crew has been cutting timber all day under a U.S. Forest Service contract, thinning out sections of the forest before the winter sets in. Now, this job matters to these men. The contract had already been extended one time. Not completing it could result in non-payment, a fine, and suspension for these men for further work contracts.
They're running close to the edge, not panicking, but aware.
Yeah, Mike Rogers is driving. He's our crew leader. He's the one who secured the bid and the one who is responsible for them finishing the project.
Travis Walton is in the truck too. At 22 years old, younger than most of the crew, strong, energetic, and known for being curious.
He's like a cat. That's why his friends call him Whiskers.
Did they really?
No, have you not seen that skit?
Oh, Will Ferrell.
With Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
So much. Hi, I'm Harry Carey.
Yes.
Curious like a cat. That's why my friends call me Whiskers. All right. So the others that are in the truck, we have Dwayne Smith, Alan Dallas, kick-ass name, Steve Pierce, Ken Peterson, and Dwayne Duke Clark, filling out the cab and then also the bed of the truck. Apparently, none of these men had any qualms with riding in the bed of the truck with a bunch of chainsaws down a bumpy dirt road. I don't know what your thoughts are. Are you jumping in the back or are you taking a front seat?
If it's the way that those trucks were, that's just what you did. Everyone just sat in the middle. I remember like back in the day when I was young, we just sat in the middle of the bench seats of a truck.
Yeah, but we got 7 like full grown men in here. I'm going to assume that at least one of them is riding in the like actual bed of the truck with a bunch of chainsaws. Are you taking that risk?
They can't, dude. It's illegal.
Okay, it's the 70s in rural Arizona.
Fair enough.
We are kind of talking like Mormon area, just so you know.
I don't care, I guess, where they were sitting in the truck.
No, I'm asking where you're going to sit. Are you making sure you get one of the seats or are you jumping in the back? See, I think it's kind of fun. Jumping in the back with a bunch of chainsaws.
I'm sitting on someone's lap, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like a real boy.
See, I'm sitting on Travis Walton's perky little lap.
You're sitting in the back with the chainsaws.
Yeah, for sure. I am like, so I had this fear of, I'm like somewhat claustrophobic and I like to challenge my fears. In college, what I would do is I was intentionally put myself in the trunk of cars anytime there was a possibility of us needing more space.
So I'm definitely in the back. You're definitely in the back of the truck.
Yeah, for sure. No question. All right.
You might be closeted gay. You just don't want to sit close to dudes. Are you homophobic or you just like don't like you feel different things when you're close to men kind of thing?
No, I will sit on a lap. I don't want anyone to sit on my lap.
Oh, in case you get a bone.
My legs go numb. Yeah. No, I'm not even really worried about that, but I got restless leg syndrome. If we're traveling for a long distance, I got my legs, I got to work them out and stuff like that, man. It's a whole thing.
Fair enough.
All right.
Nice deflection.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. Good job.
I'm gay.
I ain't never been gay. All right. So, as we said, they are finishing up for the day and they start driving down Forest Service Road 300.
Headlights push forward into darkness. The road curves through thick pine forest. No streetlights, no houses, no traffic, just dark, never-ending forest.
And then the truck rounds a bend and the trees ahead explode with light. Not a glow, not a flicker, an intense white gold brightness flooding through the trees. Mike slows the truck down. At first, he thinks maybe it's another vehicle, but then there are no headlights pointed towards them. There's nothing coming at them.
Maybe a campfire?
But there's no smoke. There's no orange flicker, no movement. The light is steady, blinding, almost electric. The forest itself looks illuminated from within.
The men lean forward. Nobody's joking. Nobody is laughing. They're blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce.
In the middle of the night?
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was the end of the line.
Maybe that's where the song comes from. Is that where the song comes from?
I don't know. I'm going to look it up. Blinded by
Mama
the light.
always told me
lyrics.
not to look into the eyes of the sun. But Mama,
revved
that's
up like
where
a
the
deuce.
fun is.
Another runner in the night.
I don't understand what that means.
I don't either. Revved up like a deuce. Another runner in the night.
Like a deuce, like
I
a
don't
poop?
think that's what the. I think maybe. I don't know, dude. It's another one of those 80s songs that I just, man, I can't tell you how much I can't stand the 80s, but I can't do it.
Why? Because that's when I was born?
Yeah, for sure.
No, I don't like that.
Yep. Yeah,
right.
Literally, it has nothing to do with the fact that the music was really bad or anything like that. It just has to do with you. Most of the things I don't like in life revolve around you liking them. Like the Broncos.
There is good 80s music and you know it. You're just being a little pricky little bitch.
I don't even remember where we were. But anyways, this isn't something you see out in this area of the woods. Mike eases the truck closer. The source of the light becomes visible between the trees, and now they can see it clearly.
Something is in the clearing.
Jamie, I want you to put yourself in this situation. Are you driving closer to the light, turning around, or hauling ass past whatever is in the trees?
I guess depends on how bright it is.
It's like blinding. You're like, what the fuck? Like, it's literally blinded by the light. You're revved up like a deuce.
Yeah.
Another runner in the night.
I would love to say, sitting here podcasting with you, that I would go close and be like, I want to see what this is. But probably in real life, I'd be like, fuck. You know what I mean?
See, and I'm the Travis Walton, as we'll get into this story. I'm like, Jamie, you need to drive me closer. I want to see what it is.
Well, I would like to know too. So let's go. Let's do it.
So back to the story. Mike rolls the truck forward slowly. Time slows, gravel's crunching under the tires. Nobody says anything at first. The clearing opens up ahead, and now the light source is fully visible.
It's not a fire. It's not a vehicle. It's a metallic object hovering above the ground, roughly 15 feet across, disc-shaped, and the old classic 2-pie pan UFO.
What they are saying is this is like the old school UFOs that aren't like necessarily rounded on like all the sides. They're kind of like weird and angular.
There's like a big thing in the middle like this.
Yes.
Like this.
And then they have like the middles that are kind of, little like domes in the middle. But the edges are like, they get thin. And then, so from the edges, it kind of like expands out. And then it goes vertical and then flat across the top with the little dome on the top.
Just to give some like vehicles perspective, this is like an Oldsmobile, not like a Tesla.
Yeah,
Crown
for sure.
Vic. This is like the Crown Vic of UFOs. You know, everything's boxy, got like points. It's not sleek like a Jaguar.
No, El Dorado. Yeah, we're talking old Scott. Old style.
Exactly.
So, anyways, this craft is suspended maybe 20 feet in the air, but the surface looks incredibly smooth, almost reflective, and it's emitting a bright white and golden glow that lights up the entire clearing.
No visible propellers, no sound of an engine, just a low hum. An alien
so
ship.
Mike brings the truck to a stop. There's silence inside the cab. Then the crew erupts in disbelief. They can't believe what they're seeing. The light is so bright it washes the trees in pale gold. Nobody is laughing. This is not something you expect to see on a logging road in Arizona.
No shit, dude. Mike inches the truck closer. Some of the men want to leave, but some want a better look.
And this is where our guy Travis comes in. And like I said, I'm the Travis in this situation. He opens the door and he steps out of the truck. Not cautiously or slowly, he walks towards this craft, fascinated. The others shout at him, "Get back in the truck." But he keeps moving. Curious, he's drawn in. The object hangs there, humming. He is making his way directly underneath the hovering craft. And then
the beam of blue light flashes down beneath the object. The beam hits Travis like a shock, like a shockwave. Shockwave.
The shockwave, wave. The men in the truck see his body lifted violently off the ground and then thrown backwards through the air. He lands hard in the forest clearing. For a moment, the crew believes they've just watched their friend die. The men inside the truck erupt in chaos. Someone yells, "Go, go!" Mike slams the truck into gear. They take off down the road. There's gravel flying. The engines are revving. Everyone is screaming. It's pure panic. We should just do this for this scene. Now they drive for what feels like forever, but then Mike stops. Silence again.
Mike, utterly shocked, staring blankly out of the windshield, says, "We can't just leave him."
And at that, he turns the truck around and he says that any man who doesn't want to go back can get out and wait here. But nobody moves, and they all drive back. But this time, the clearing is empty. There's no light, there's no object, and there's no Travis. Just dark forest again. Now, Jamie, if you're in the truck, you're going back, aren't you? I'm Travis in this situation.
I would have never left. Just saying.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I kind of like understand the chaos of it all. You just see like your friend get like absolutely blown to what they may have thought was like pieces. I kind of get freaking the fuck out. Everyone's yelling at you to fucking go. UFO, I can't imagine how terrifying that is. I get leaving, but you definitely also are in the truck to go back, right?
Did they see him, like, did they physically see him blow up, or is he just like
No. I'm being hyperbolic.
Yeah. Yes. We're going back. And that's the end of it.
And we're going back.
Young man, we're going back for your friends.
So, back to the story. The clearing is empty. There's no light, no object, no Travis. What would you do in that situation that you go, so like, we already made a decision. We're getting in the truck, but we're going back. Now we're back. And you're like, where the fuck is he?
I'd probably drive down to my local bar and not say a word to any single person, and then wait,
just
grab
like
their
in the
payphone
movie?
and call someone. I know. I would go to the fucking police station.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Hey, cheers for one of these, because I'm ready for another one.
Okay.
Bird up, dude.
It's
the worst show on television.
Tonight,
That's Pink Whitney. It's like 30%.
all right. Might be a little dust on the bottle.
How does that end?
What? Dust on the bottle or the...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's the second part of that?
Might be a little dust on the bottle, but don't let it fool you by what's inside.
Oh, that's a dumb
Leo
saying.
Williams lived down a dirt road. Wine and no
Leo Williams.
No. Yeah, dude, I know that. You're talking to a Wyoming man, dude. I know 90s country pretty good.
All right. So I'm right there with you. I think I guess I don't even know what the fuck I would do. I think I honestly would be like, fuck, dude. I don't want to get in trouble. I think I should call the cops. I also think I definitely need a beer.
Fair enough. So, Dirty Mike and the boys don't drive home. And they don't wait for daylight.
They drive to the nearest payphone in a strip mall in the foothills of Snowflake, Arizona, the closest town to them. It's the first phone that they can physically access, being that this is 1975. They stop and call the Navajo County Sheriff's Office immediately within an hour of the incident, and they report that one of their crew members is missing, and they explain why.
A bright object in the woods, a beam of light, he was hit, and then he was gone.
So Deputy Chuck Ellison is the first responding officer, and he meets the men at the local payphone station.
He listens to all 6 men, all the same structure of events.
There's no hesitation between any of them. Ellison also doesn't laugh it off, but he doesn't necessarily nod along. He hears one thing clearly. There's a 22-year-old man who is missing. And from that point forward, this is a missing persons case, possibly worse. Now,
it was a murder.
Exactly. This case doesn't stay with Deputy Ellison. Sheriff Marlon Gillespie and Deputy Kenneth Copeland take over the investigation. Now, I think that this is something that gets really confused in this case, is that we have, what is his name? Chuck Ellison, who is the initial responder, but he kind of doesn't really have anything to do with this case after this initial incident, because he gets passed. He must be some new guy that they're sending. They're like, yeah, we got people talking about aliens or something like that. Ellison, you go handle it. And then they're like, no, we think these men might have murdered this kid. And they're like, all right, well,
Deputy Dewey.
Literally, they're like, all right, Ellison, you're Deputy Dewey. Go talk to these psychos. They're claiming that their friend was abducted by aliens. And he's like, yeah, no, I think they might have murdered him. And they're like, fuck, now we actually have to go do police work. All right. So they call in Marlon Gillespie and Kenneth Copeland, and they pretty much take over the investigation from here. But now the tone shifts, right? We have this strange story, and it switched from that, an abduction story, into an active criminal inquiry.
From their perspective, a man is gone. The last people who saw him were right damn there, and there's no physical evidence of what they claim.
That raises one immediate possibility. The men are covering for a murder. Now, here's when things get really interesting. Deputy Kenneth Copeland, one of the, I think I'm saying it right. It could be Copeland, but one of the lead investigators reportedly had an openness to UFO sightings. It's not an obsession and it's not fanaticism, but it certainly is an openness.
And in a rural Arizona in the 1970s, this is not shocking. Like, this is literally where all UFOs happen. And it makes sense because literally that's, well, like we've said in the past, this is where we tested nuclear bombs. And this is so where
it's nuclear.
Nuclear. What did I say?
You said nuclear. It's not nuclear. It's nuclear.
Nuclear. Whatever, dude.
It's not nuclear.
Nuclear.
This is the whole thing. Do you remember George W. Bush got in a whole bunch of trouble because he kept saying nuclear?
Okay, so I'm dumb like George Bush. So there's those bombs.
Continue.
That start with the letter N.
You dropping N-bombs, dude?
That they dropped.
You better be careful who you're around when you drop an N-bomb.
And that's why the aliens go there, is because they saw that shit from space.
I'm dying right now.
What do you think you're so fucking smart, dude? Nuclear.
You're dropping.
Is that right?
Nuclear. You're dropping nuclear.
What did I say? Nuclear?
Nuclear.
Nuclear. It's just the way you say things. It's like saying milk, like pillow. There's certain things people just say different.
It's spelled different.
Who cares?
There's one U in nuclear.
How many U's are in nuclear?
What?
How am I saying it wrong?
I can't get into this right now.
Yeah,
Nuclear to me sounds phonetically like it would have two U's. There's the first U before. It's N-U.
You're the nerdy people on the internet that have nothing better to do.
LAR.
Let's moving on. I'm very mad.
Keep going.
The American Southwest had a long history of reported lights in the sky. Roswell wasn't ancient history, like I was trying to say. Military testing in the region fueled rumors.
Yeah, it's obvious that in rural, she put. You're going to feed you one here, Randers.
Start talking about the show.
So it's not like at all out there that these sheriff's departments had tons and tons of calls about whatever we want to call it, experiences, something in the sky, seeing weird stuff. It is rural Arizona in the 70s. It is littered with UFO lore. So needless to say, Copeland is not dismissive, but he's also not naive. Oh yeah. You caught me on that one. All right. Well, I'm actually going to stay with it. Right. So needless to say, Copeland is not dismissive of these claims, but he's also not naive. He can hold two ideas at once. This story sounds impossible.
And on the other hand, these men might not be lying.
So law enforcement escorts the crew back to the clearing. It's completely pitch black now. There's no glow, there's no craft, there's no disturbance. Search teams are deployed. There's tracking dogs, helicopters, and volunteers. The terrain is thick, cold, and at this time of year, really unforgiving. Hundreds of man hours. If Travis is injured, they need to find him fast.
If he's dead, they need a body. But they find nothing. Not a shoe, not a scrap of fabric, not blood, nothing.
The absence increases suspicion. Now, police continue their investigation. And eventually, the whole crew is polygraphed, but not about aliens, about murder. The 4 specific questions that they were asked were, 1, did you cause any physical harm to Travis Walton last Wednesday night? 2, do you know where Travis Walton's body is hidden? 3, do you know if Travis Walton was physically harmed by anyone last Wednesday night? And 4, did you tell the truth about seeing a UFO last Wednesday night?
Each man answered no to the first 3 and yes to the last question. They told the truth about seeing a UFO. 5 of 6 men passed.
Dwayne Smith's results were inconclusive. Now,
I thought it was Dallas's, dude. Damn movie.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's Dwayne Smith, but I could be wrong on this. Anyways, inconclusive can mean several things. It can signal nervousness, resistance to a testing process, misinterpretation of the question, physiological or psychological irregularity during the response. It does not automatically equal deception. Now, here's the key outcome. None of the men were determined to be lying about harming Travis. If this was a coordinated killing, 6 men individually just endured formal testing and held their story. That raises the stakes to an astronomical level.
Because now the question isn't just, did they kill him? It becomes, if they didn't, what the fuck happened?
Exactly. So 4 days later, the search continues. Media attention is growing astronomically. The crew cannot return to normal life.
They are suspects, and Travis Walton is still missing.
At this point, Deputy Kenneth Copeland makes the drive. I got it right that time. Makes the drive to actually talk to Walton's family, Travis Walton's family. And he isn't just delivering the news that Travis is missing. He has to explain what the rest of the crew is claiming happened.
A bright flying object, a blast beam of light, then Travis disappears?
This isn't a traditional hiking accident. It's not a work thing. This is something that sounds impossible. Now, Travis' mother listens, and to Copeland's surprise, she doesn't react with disbelief. She doesn't accuse the crew of lying. She doesn't demand to know what they're hiding. She says she believes that her son was taken.
At one point during the search, she tells investigators she doesn't think he's on Earth anymore.
That's not a panicked mother guessing about something. That's certainty. She believes. But there's another layer here. The Walton and the Rogers families aren't strangers. Travis is dating Mike Rogers' sister. These families know each other quite well.
They share dinners. They share holidays. They share trust.
Oh. So when Mike reports Travis missing, it's not a distant thing. It's not someone that, hey, the guy I work with isn't showing up for work kind of thing. It's personal. If there is foul play, this isn't just a crew member disappearing, it's family. The fact makes the investigation even tighter, but now it's not just coworkers under suspicion. It's a network of people who know each other intimately. Now, Travis's brother, Dwayne Walton, steps into the picture a little bit more directly now. Now, Dwayne has had an interest in UFO phenomena long before the night that Travis went missing, and he doesn't hide that. In conversations with investigators at this time, Dwayne shares something specific. He and Travis had talked about what they would do if they ever encountered a UFO.
Their answer? They would get close, and they would try to make contact.
But police aren't entirely sure what to make of this information. On one hand, it could be like silly hypotheticals discussed between brothers, but on the other, it seems like an odd coincidence given the context. If someone said that they'd approach something unknown in the sky and then one night actually did, what do you do with that as a cop? I legitimately I'd be like, oh yeah, dude, I think this is all bullshit. What'd you guys do? Or that he's faking it, right?
Yeah, but how do you find proof? You can't just be like, no, you're lying. You either sit there and investigate them for hours until one of them goofs up, or...
Well, that's going to become pretty much like you nailed like the crux of what this case becomes, is that some people believe that you need to have dead solid proof that aliens exist. And some people believe that you have to have dead solid proof that what I experienced didn't happen.
It's like Jesus, dude. It's like it says in the Bible. You don't need proof that he exists. You just need to believe.
Okay. Totally fair. That's the closest thing I can even... Well, that's such a good...
Not so stupid now, motherfucker.
He's gone nuclear. Look out.
Yeah, I got it from... I'm pretty sure it was when Santa Claus in the Tim Allen Santa Claus movie was on trial, and they proved that that even God, we don't know for a fact God is there. So how do we know for a fact that Santa Claus isn't real? So,
wow, boom! Thanks, Tim Allen, the Santa Claus. Is that a layup? That's a J shot, dude. That's a hook.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, back to the story. While search crews continue sweeping the forest, something else begins to happen. The story begins to spread. Local papers are picking it up, then regional outlets, then national media is starting to call.
Because this isn't just a missing persons case, it's a missing person case tied to a UFO sighting, and the combination is a seller.
Yeah, exactly. So cameras start showing up in Snowflake. Reporters interview crew members.
Can I sidebar real quick?
Yeah, sidebar, bro.
Who decided to call this town Snowflake?
Would you like to know the history of that?
Do you have it?
I do, actually. So,
is this
the town was founded by two Mormon families, the Snows and the Flake families. Okay, and so this is it's interesting. So they put them together. It was two founding families. But anyways, what is super interesting about that is that the Mormon doctrine has a whole lot to do with aliens, actually. Or I don't necessarily want to say aliens, but like
outer space for sure.
And extraterrestrial beings and things like that. So that's kind of where the town of Snowflake comes from.
That's hilarious. That one's last name was Snow and the other one was Flake. She might mean last name was Flake. What's your last? That's Dick Flake over there.
That old
Sally
Dick
Flakes. Sally Flakes over there.
Old Turd Flakes.
Old Cornelius Flakes over there.
Corn Flakes. Old Cornelius Flake, a.k.a. Corn. That's Cornflake.
Dude, that's where rap names got started.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. It's
that's fucking
Cornflake.
Cornflake. What's your real name? Cornelius. All right.
Man, I don't even remember where we were. But anyways, we
cameras show up in coal.
Yeah.
In
Snowflake. And the headlines definitely start forming. Pretty much they all say like logger vanishes after UFO encounter.
The forest becomes a stage. The crew becomes the characters. And the longer Travis is gone, the stranger the story becomes.
Now here we have a huge piece of this story. The National Enquirer jumps in, which at the time had a standing reward for documented UFO evidence, and they take interest in the case. Now, it's turned into day 5, and the search is continuing. We still have helicopters overhead, dogs on the ground. Volunteers are combing miles and miles of mountain terrain.
Still no body, still no clothing, no sign of survival, no sign of struggle.
The crew is under relentless questioning, and I think rightfully so. If I guess even in from what I know of UFO lore, these things don't happen like people are gone for days. Sometimes people don't even realize they're gone. Like in the Betty and Barney Hill abduction, they weren't gone for any time. Like they were literally like pretty much. It was like 1 hour, which felt like a long, long time to them. And then they're like zapped back into like right where they were. Right.
Kind of like Inception, not Inception, Interstellar.
Oh,
well, that was like 70 years. Like he was gone for like 2 days and it was like 100 years or something like that. So that was the opposite.
Yeah, dude. Time is different in space. But anyways.
Time be different in space.
This is another, like, you bring up a really good point. It's like, dude, time in this one is really weird because it's usually the other way around where we get, like, abductees don't realize how long, or, like, think they're gone for a long time and come back and it's been, like, an hour versus this case, which is the opposite. We're at 5 days now and nothing has shown up for Travis. So anyways, the men can't go back to work. They can't go back to normal because every answer they give to a question is replayed. Every word is analyzed. And now the story isn't just local, it's national. People across the country are reading about 6 loggers who claim a bright object in the woods took their friend.
Whether you believe them or not, it's big. And then on the 5th day, everything changes.
The phone rings.
It's different.
Do I know that song?
No, it's Michael Jackson. It's different. From South Park.
Okay.
That's my Wookiee / phone call noise.
Hello.
Yeah. Is this next?
So, are you there? Hello? So, anyways. Please help me. Anyways, the phone rings. It's November 10th, 1975. 5 days after Travis Walton vanished in the woods outside Snowflake, Arizona. At the home of Travis's sister, the phone rings with a collect call request. Grant Neff, Travis's brother-in-law, answers. The operator asks,
"Will you accept charges from Travis Walton?"
"Will you accept the charges from Travis Walton, Sydney?"
Still got Scream on the brain, huh?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely still there. Anyways, there's a silence in the room at this point. 5 days of search crews. 5 days of suspicion, 5 days of headlines, and then Grant responds, yes.
The line connects. Travis Boyce is fate. Unsteady.
He says he's in Heber at a payphone. He sounds confused, not frantic, but certainly confused. Now, Grant and Dwayne Walton don't notify media. They don't call police first. They just get in the car. The drive to Heber is short, maybe 20 to 30 miles from where Travis went missing. When they pull up, they find him inside the phone booth.
He's slumped against the glass, thin, pale, visibly shaken.
But he doesn't look like someone who just spent 5 days in the forest. He looks like someone trying to understand what just happened to him. They ask how long he thinks he's been gone.
He thinks it's been a few hours. He's unaware that it's nearly been a week since he passed.
Because if he was hiding, you'd expect him to track his time. If he was injured in the woods, you'd expect a visible deterioration or some kind of injury. Instead, all they get is confusion. Now comes an important decision. Instead of going straight to law enforcement, Dwayne calls APRO, aka the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization. Dwayne has already been interested in UFO research before this incident, and when his brother went missing, he made sure to talk to them about this incident. His reasoning is simple. If Travis walks into a sheriff's office claiming abduction, the conversation may shut down immediately. They just would call him a liar. Is Dwayne taking him to a UFO doctor the right call here?
I think that's smart for a quick decision. I know that the cops are going to call him a liar or think something else went on. So, yeah.
Before anyone dismisses him, Dwayne wants documentation. He has medical forms that say this is what happens to Travis. Then they take Travis, they take him to the APRO doctor and get these forms.
Not to avoid police permanently, but to establish his medical condition first. Super smart.
And yeah, this is a choice that will later be absolutely criticized by skeptics, and I understand that point, but I also get on the other side. The goal of this moment is to document Travis's condition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the doctor examines Travis carefully. He looks for injuries, signs of exposure, evidence of trauma. Here's what they reportedly find.
No significant dehydration, no advanced starvation markers, no ketosis, which typically begins after several days without food, small needle-like puncture marks, and general weakness and mental distortion.
Now, the ketosis detail is important. After 5 days without food, the body should show metabolic signs. The body starts to eat itself to get energy. But according to this doctor, however, those signs weren't present, and the needle marks raise another question.
Travis was not known to be a drug user. There's no immediate explanation for those puncture marks.
Now, none of this proves an abduction, but it does complicate the fact that people say he wandered in the woods for 5 days theory. If he hid somewhere voluntarily, where? If he was attacked, why is there such little trauma? The physical state doesn't neatly match any explanation. Not to mention the fact that all of these men swear they saw him not only picked up, but blasted backwards in the woods. And he shows no sign of, there's no bruises or any marks on his body from this incident. Now, after the medical examination, Travis does not disappear again. Instead, he doesn't flee the state. He doesn't lawyer up and refuse contact.
He meets with law enforcement. He's prepared to explain what he remembers.
And this is where this story takes a dramatic turn, because now, for the first time, we get to hear what Travis Walton says happened to him after the beam hit him in that clearing. Now, before we get into this part of the story, one important thing needs to be understood. Travis Walton described this experience in two ways over the years. The first was in the immediate days right after it happened in his interviews with police. Later with police, he also recounted what happened to him during hypnotic regression sessions. Now, for the most part, the two accounts reinforce each other. So what we're about to describe is essentially like a hybrid of both versions. It's the core memory of what Travis says he experienced. The last thing Travis remembers in the forest is the beam of light striking him. Then everything goes black.
When he wakes up, he's lying on his back on a cold metal table.
The room is dim. It's quiet. Smooth metallic walls reflecting soft light. For a moment, Travis believes he might actually be in a hospital. There are tubes connected to his arms.
Equipment around him. The environment feels sterile, clinical.
But that sense of relief only lasts a moment, because then he sees the figures standing around him.
3 small beings, short, thin, hairless, large heads, large eyes.
And their faces are completely expressionless. And in that instance, Travis realizes he is not in a hospital.
Travis completely freaks out. He rips the tubes out of his arms. He thrashes violently.
He grabs an object nearby and swings it at the figures surrounding him. He strikes one of the beings, but something strange happens. They don't retaliate. They don't attack him. Instead, the small beings retreat.
They quickly leave the room and suddenly leave Travis alone. They're like,
oh, bro, what the fuck? Freaking stop.
What if aliens sounded like that?
Oh my god. Oh my god, stop. Don't do that. Oh my god. Freaking stop, dude. That hurts. Oh my god.
Stop. I just want to poke your eyes a little bit. That way I can know. What'd you think?
Anyways. The voice is alone. Travis's adrenaline takes over and he jumps off the table.
His legs are weak, but he moves anyways. He creeps out of the doorway that strange beings left through into a long curving hallway.
Now, when he's in this hallway, he notices that the interior of this ship feels strange. Like there's these really smooth walls and there's no the lighting isn't from like above. There's no lights that he can see. It's all weird, indirect. Somehow the hallway's lit up, but he doesn't see any lights. And there's no visible seams or doors the way like a normal human structure would look.
The small beings are gone. He's completely lost inside of the structure. And then he sees someone else.
Yeah, standing ahead of him is this tall, human-like, super handsome figure.
He was
much taller. Yeah, like really, really good looking.
It was
much taller than the other bee. Yeah.
The figure is wearing what Travis describes as a helmet, almost like a clear dome. At first glance, the figure appears human, but something feels off. It's Billy.
Yeah,
Bob
I'm just
Thornton.
assuming that this is Matthew McConaughey with long hair.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Billy Bob Thornton. Fair
enough. Either way, dude. Wow, what a sight to see in a spaceship.
Oh,
so anyways,
Wilson. Wow.
You know what? It probably is Owen Wilson.
No, those guys that would friggin' babies. They're all babies back then.
His like long blonde hair. I'm expecting this because what we're gonna get into. I'm thinking that this is a Nordic. And he's going to have long, flowing blonde hair. I'm going to cast Owen Wilson in this Aliens. He's playing this character. No question.
Congratulations, dude. You just
hold your wows.
Oh, wow.
So anyways, later during hypnotic regression, Travis recalls the detail that disturbed him the most. This being's eyes. They blinked sideways, not up and down. And when that memory surfaced during hypnosis, Travis reportedly became visibly distressed.
But in the moment inside the craft, the figure doesn't threaten him. It doesn't speak. It simply guides him. That's so pretty heroic.
So Owen Wilson says, wow. And he leads Travis into another room. Inside is this chair. Panels of controls are on that chair. Above him is this huge domed ceilings with points of lights that Travis claims look like stars. Travis goes and sits in the chair, and he begins just pushing buttons. Lights respond. The star field shifts. For a brief moment, Travis believes something impossible. He thinks he might actually be piloting the craft.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Wow.
That moment doesn't last. The tall figure intervenes by placing an oxygen mask over Travis's face, and everything goes black again.
After that moment, the rest of Travis's memory is fragmented, if not non-existent. He cannot account for everything that happened during those 5 days.
Some details surface later during hypnosis. Others never returned at all, but the core of his account has remained the same.
Pretty much, he claims that he woke up in the craft, he encountered non-human beings, he panicked and then fought them, he wandered deeper into the structure and met a human-like figure. Then, he lost consciousness again.
This is the experience Travis Walton would spend the next 50 years defending.
By the time that Travis speaks publicly to the press, this story is already everywhere. This isn't just a missing persons case anymore. It's a national spectacle.
News programs replay the account. Newspapers print diagrams of the craft.
Talk radio debates whether the crew is lying, insane, or telling the truth. The Force incident is no longer confined to Arizona. It's a part of American pop culture. And at the time, as we mentioned, the National Enquirer had an active reward program for UFO evidence.
After Travis returned, they arranged for an exclusive and organized a polygraph examination.
Now, money eventually changed hands, commonly cited at about $5,000, tied to their UFO reward program and coverage. That fact becomes a lightning rod because now money has entered the pictures. Now, supporters would say they endured weeks of scrutiny. They have the best story on the market. Compensation makes sense.
Skeptics say now we have motive.
So, to understand what happens next, we have to understand the 1970s. The polygraph, aka lie detector, wasn't just a test. It was treated like a truth machine.
Game shows use it. Talk shows use it. Employers use it.
Jamie, do you know, you're an old guy. You've seen a lot of these game shows. I'm assuming, especially as a kid. Do you know any shows that used a lie detector?
No.
There was a really bad show I remember, and when I was in high school watching on MTV that had like a lie detector portion of it.
Oh, like
I remember it being
one?
like a big deal. Yeah, it was like a dating show that was like, oh yeah, you said you had a good time with this girl, but you didn't.
Well, like Maury did it. That's what I
well,
like,
yeah,
that's
I
what
guess
you meant. Like
that's
Maury
maybe the
Povich did
biggest
it.
thing. I thought Maury's big thing was like paternity tests. Anyways, I just remember the polygraph being like this, like really funny, but like deadly serious thing. Like, oh, we can analyze whether or not you're telling the truth.
As determined, that is the lie. Oh yeah, Maury did.
All right. So I guess Maury is maybe the biggest standard.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so if a polygraph said you were lying, public opinion often treated that as fact at this time. But over time, experts began to understand its limitation. A polygraph doesn't detect lies.
It measures psychological stress responses, heart rate, breathing patterns, skin conductivity.
Yeah. And stress can mean deception or fear or anger or confusion. And over time, courts would grow increasingly skeptical. Today, polygraph results are largely inadmissible in the court of law.
But in 1975, they were carried by weight, an enormous weight.
Yes. So the Enquirer arranges a test with their examiner, John McCarthy. Now, his conclusion?
Deception.
Oh, and that
the phrase gross deception becomes attached to Travis's name.
And that phrase really, it does spread quickly. It's clean, it's devastating, and for many people, it's really the end of the case. The fact that Travis says, hey, or the fact that a polygraph expert comes out and says he is showing gross deception. I don't know how gross, but like any type of deception, let alone gross deception. Ew, dude, it's super weird. Turns a lot of people off from believing in the case. But It doesn't end there, because another polygraph is administered by George Pfeiffer. This time, Travis reportedly passes with flying colors. Now the public has 2 experts, 2 machines, and 2 different outcomes. And suddenly the truth machine doesn't look so certain.
Supporters say the first test was flawed.
And skeptics say the second test was influenced. And debate shifts. It's no longer about a beam of light. It's about breathing patterns. Examiner bias, the lie detector, once treated as gospel, has now muddied the water. And as the debate grows louder, people are asking why this happened to Travis. Travis begins offering his own explanation for what he believes happened that night. And it's not the explanation that many people expected. See, Travis doesn't believe that he was deliberately abducted. Instead, he believes the beam of light that struck him in the forest may have been part of the craft's propulsion system, or some kind of defensive reaction.
When he approached the object, he may have been hit by something he wasn't meant to encounter. According to Travis, the blast may have seriously injured him, which would explain what happened next.
Yeah, because when Travis describes waking up inside the craft, the setting feels, like he says, almost medical. There's a table and equipment and tubes connected to his arms. For a brief moment, he even believed he had woken up in a hospital.
In Travis's interpretation, the beings didn't take him aboard to experiment on him. They took him aboard to repair whatever damage had been done.
And in that interpretation, he connects to another strange moment in his story. When Travis panicked and attacked the small beings surrounding him, they didn't fight back. They backed away. And to Travis, that moment suggested something important.
The beings didn't seem hostile. If anything, they seemed cautious.
If his interpretation is correct, then what happened in the Arizona forest that night may not have been an abduction at all. It may have been an accident, followed by a rescue, a repair, and a return. So, armed with this reason, Travis prepares for the battle of his life. Now remember, the crew had already taken polygraphs focused on the murder. They had all passed, for the most part. Remember, one of the men's results were inconclusive. But now Travis is locked in a public credibility feud. And the longer the story goes on, the harder it becomes for the story to fade quietly away. Because now, it's not just a sighting, it's a fight.
And into the fight steps a man who made a career of dismantling stories like this. Philip Klass.
I fucking hate this dude.
Yeah, he's
I don't know
a real
what,
knucklehead.
Yeah, a little chuckle. I don't know if he's a knucklehead, but he's definitely a chucklehead. Like, he bothers me. Yeah, a little chuckle fuck.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna call him. He's a little chuckle fuck. Anyways, so by the late 1970s, the Walton story is no longer just an incident in the woods outside of Lake Arizona. It becomes national spectacle.
Late night talk shows invite Travis to tell his story. Newspaper print diagrams of his craft.
Yeah, and radio hosts continue to debate whether the 6 loggers involved are witnesses or con artists. Investigators fly into Arizona. Reporters knock on doors. And the longer that this story stays in the public eye, the more that the pressure builds.
Because the case isn't fading away, it's hardening. 2 sides are forming. Neither side is backing down.
On one side are organizations that already believed in UFO encounters. They deserved that believed that the UFO encounters deserved serious scientific investigation. Groups like, as we mentioned before, APRO, the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, NICAP, the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, and then later MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. Now, these groups weren't random enthusiasts. They had literal investigators, newsletters, case files. In fact, a good portion of the research from this story came from this massive MUFON case file. It's a couple hundred pages long. Super interesting. If you want to know the minute details of this case, you can literally find it anywhere on the internet. Just type in MUFON, Travis Walton, and it will give you like literally the dossier, a couple hundred pages deep.
Jesus.
So there were field investigators and field researchers who traveled to the sightings and they interviewed the witnesses in this case. And when they began examining the Walton case, something immediately stood out to them.
The witnesses are consistent. The 6 men are interviewed individually, separately, repeatedly, months apart, even years apart.
But the core story doesn't change. 6 men, a clearing in the forest, a hovering craft, a beam of light, a man thrown backwards, and then he's gone. For investigators who already believed UFO encounters might be real, that consistency becomes one of the strongest pieces of evidence UFOs have going for it.
But for every investigator trying to prove the story might be real, there are others trying to prove the exact opposite.
And no one, I repeat, 0 people in the history of the UFO debate have been more determined than the aforementioned Philip Klass. Now, Klass is not a fringe figure shouting from the sidelines. He is a legitimately, honestly respected aviation journalist. He's a senior editor at Aviation Week and Space Technology. He's a man who understands aircraft systems, radar technology, and aerospace engineering. And he has spent years challenging what he sees as pseudoscience in the UFO world. Now, Klass believes that most UFO sightings can be explained by aircraft, atmospheric phenomena, astronomical objects, and then misidentifications. Now, Klass is notably responsible for the phrase ball lightning, which he claims is often misattributed to UFOs.
So when the Walton case explodes into headlines, Klass sees something dangerous. Not aliens, but a story that could legitimize the entire UFO movement. But he decides to dismantle it.
Exactly. Klass doesn't approach the case gently. He begins by writing articles calling the entire story a hoax. He publicly calls Travis Walton a liar. He digs into Walton's personal history, looking for anything that might damage his credibility. And he points to incidents involving counterfeit checks from Walton's teenage years.
Walton was still a teenager at the time, but Klass uses the incident anyways. Klass suggests Walton may be a drug user.
Yeah, and he has no evidence that he presents to support this claim. But once accusations like that enter the public conversation, they can be difficult to see. This is no longer just belief versus skepticism, it's personal attacks, making your point by any means necessary.
Now, Klass doesn't stop with Walton. He begins tracking down members of the logging crew.
Yeah, some of the men had already tried to step away from the spotlight. Travis is kind of soaking in all of this attention he's getting, but this whole situation doesn't, and we'll get into it a little bit more, but it's one of why this case is so crazy is that there is the person that the abduction happened to that has this account, but there's 6 other people who watched this happen.
Yeah.
So some of these guys were like, hey, I know what I saw. I will tell you, I told you once, I'm not going to I don't want the attention. The immediate attention has been intense and it's really disrupted their lives.
Yeah. But Klass keeps contacting them, calling, writing, showing up on their doorsteps, refusing to leave. A real bozo.
Yeah, a little chuckle fuck. I'm going to call him a chuckle fuck again. He's pressuring these crew guys for any inconsistencies. He's looking for contradictions. He's looking for the moment when someone finally says, this didn't happen. Because if even one witness breaks, the entire story collapses.
But Travis Walton does not back down. He appears on television, speaks to investigators, publishes his own account of the experiences.
And he also responds directly to Klass's accusations. The conflict between these 2 men becomes deeply personal. Walton insists that Klass isn't investigating the truth. He's trying to destroy the credibility of him and the other witnesses.
At one point, Walton and some of the crew suggest something extraordinary. They speculate that Klass might actually be a part of the government disinformation project. Yeah?
Yeah. Someone whose job it is to discredit UFO encounters before they gain any traction. Now, Klass dismisses this accusation completely, But the accusation still lingers, as if it was the same case that Klass made against Travis being a drug user. The tension between these two men only grows.
Klass has been long issuing public challenges. He offers cash rewards to anyone that can produce genuine evidence of alien encounters.
Yeah, he had this program, and he was like out in the public on shows saying this, but he was offering $10,000 if someone could prove an alien visitation, and even more money, I think another $10,000 if someone could produce an alien on television. I'm just going to say that's a little bit ridiculous. If you're only offering $10,000 for that, I think you need to up that number. Anyways.
Yeah, millions, dummy.
This whole thing is part challenge and part provocation.
Because Klass is confident no one will ever collect. Yeah. To him, It proves a point.
But to believers, it looks like arrogance. And this is where the Walton case becomes something unique.
The story stops being only about what happened in the forest clearing alien abductions. Now it's about two men fighting over reality. Travis Walton refuses to change his story, and Philip Klass refuses to believe it.
Yeah, we have talk shows debating it, investigators arguing over it, newsletters and magazines dissecting, what their claims are, and the argument stretches across decades.
A logger from rural Arizona
and an aviation journalist from Washington. Both are convinced they're defending the truth, and neither are willing to give an inch. Now, most stories eventually fade in the background. Witnesses move on, investigators lose interest.
The headlines disappear, but Travis Walton's story refuses to die. Years pass, then decades.
And every so often, the case resurfaces, debated again by skeptics and believers alike. But in the early 1990s, something happens that throws gasoline on the fire. Hollywood gets involved. In 1993, the film Fire in the Sky hits theaters. It's based on Travis Walton's book, The Walton Experience. And suddenly, the story that had lived mostly in UFO circles explodes back into mainstream culture. Millions of people who had never heard of the case are suddenly watching it unfold on screen.
The film tells the story of the logging crew, the disappearance, the investigation, the return, and then the abduction itself.
But Hollywood does what Hollywood does. The movie version of the abduction is far more intense and terrifying than the encounter Travis originally described. There's needles, there's experiments, there's a chaotic alien machinery. It plays more like cosmic horror than strange fragmented memory that Travis reported. And that raises an interesting question, because if the real story was already fascinating, why change it? Does dramatizing the entire experience make the whole story more believable or less? The biggest question is, does dramatizing the experience make the story more believable or less? And I don't mean that specifically, like looking at the story and saying like, wow, they like took what we know as the real story and kind of made a bigger deal of it. But now it reaches a broader audience, and we get to kind of like people that haven't done the research on this get to see this story, and it's dramatized and it's big. Right? Does that do more or less for believers or skeptics?
I think a lot of people took this as like real life alien. And I don't assume that a lot of people like started digging into the actual story. They're probably like, whoa, that's crazy. And like, if you watch it, it's pretty much just like them being like, no, I didn't. Yeah, we're not lying. We're not lying. And then there's like a whole bunch of like UFO parts, and that's about it.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, I think I was surprised how much of the movie Travis wasn't in.
Yeah, dude, he was gone, right? Dude. For
like he comes back into the story like way later.
Yeah, dude. Mike was the star of the show.
Yep. But anyways, like, so you're saying that it seems like you think it did more for believers than it did for skeptics.
Yes.
Like skeptics being able to point and be like, see, that was inaccurate and that was inaccurate, versus believers being like, here's this crazy story. Won't you want to look at it?
Well, it's Hollywood. They're definitely leaning towards it being like something you'd believe in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. It says it's is it based on, or this is a true story? I can't remember what it said at the beginning.
It always says based on a true story.
Yeah. Well, speaking of true stories, Jamie, do you have, I think you wrote a song for this entire episode?
I didn't write a song. I just wrote a little blurb that I played for you at the beginning.
I think it's a song. Play it, dude. Bring the track in. This one's called Fire in the Sky.
What if I just randomly had a guitar right here?
Yep, look at that.
Did you see the fire in the sky? Did ya?
Did ya?
Did you see the fire in the sky? Did ya?
Did ya?
A UFO came from the sky, zipped right up and zapped that guy. Did you see the fire in the sky? Did ya?
Yeah. Love it, dude.
I remember. Yeah, dude. I'm a real lyricist. I stole that from Beer Rut for sure.
You know what? All creation is some sort of theft. There's some kind of quote about that, right?
Well, there's only like 6 notes, or technically 8 notes in the musical alphabet, and only 7 ways you can put them together. So, eventually,
are you going to get into music theory on this podcast right now?
That's it. That's all I have to do.
Okay.
All right. Let's go on.
Roll it, dog. Roll it.
The movie receives a lot of attention. Some viewers are captivated. Others are skeptical, but people connected to the case have mixed reactions. Travis himself has said to the film exaggerated parts of his experience. Yeah, no shit.
But he has acknowledged that the movie introduced the story to an entirely new audience. And for many people, Fire in the Sky becomes their first exposure to the Walton case, which creates an interesting situation. For millions of viewers, the Hollywood version becomes the default version, highly dramatized, terrifying, and shedding no light on the possibility of doubt. But despite everything, the skepticism, the media attention, the debates, the core claim of the witnesses never changes. Mike Rogers, Travis Walton, Alan Dallas, Steve Pierce, John Goulet, Dwayne Smith, and Ken Peterson.
6 men who were in the truck of the night of November 5th, 1975. 6 men who watched Travis Walton walk towards the light.
And for nearly 50 years, that story has remained the same. For supporters of the case, that consistency is powerful because fabricated stories tend to unravel over time. But this one never really does. However, there is one moment decades later where it looks like the entire story might fracture. At one point, Mike Rogers makes comments suggesting he has doubts about parts of the event.
Critics of the case seize on it immediately. After all these years, is this the moment someone finally admits it was all a hoax? But the situation turns out to be more complicated.
See, these comments came during a personal dispute between Mike Rogers and Travis Walton about a new movie or documentary that was in the works, and where the rights were kind of going with it. It's a little fuzzy, or at least I'm a little fuzzy on what exactly happened. But later, Rogers clarifies his position and reaffirms that the entire incident in the forest happened as originally described. The conflict becomes another chapter in the long history of arguments around this case. But again, the core story survives it. And now we arrive in the modern era, nearly 50 years after that night in the forest. The Walton case is still discussed. We're talking about it now. It's still debated and investigated. But the world around it has changed.
Today, the term UFO has largely been replaced by UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. Military pilots report encounters. Pentagon programs study unexplained crafts. Congress holds hearings about objects they defy easy explanation.
Yeah, the idea that something unusual may exist in our skies is no longer treated as science fiction, which means old cases like this one are being looked at again with fresh eyes. So, in the end, the Travis Walton case will always come back to the same place. A dark forest road outside Snowflake, Arizona. November 5th, 1975.
6 men in a pickup truck. A strange craft hovering above a clearing, a beam of light, and a man thrown backwards through the air before vanishing for 5 days.
Everything that followed afterwards, the investigations, the arguments, the media circus, the war between Travis and Philip Klass, all traces back to that moment. So, after nearly 50 years of debate, we're left with the same question that people asked that night. What actually happened out there?
To the skeptics like Philip Klass, the explanation is straightforward. The Walton incident was a hoax.
A logging crew under pressure from a difficult forestry contract, a dramatic story, media attention, eventual money from tabloid exclusives. The Polygraph Controversy adds fuel to this argument.
One test suggests deception, another suggests truthfulness.
And when you combine that with the extraordinary nature of the claim itself, skeptics argue that the most reasonable explanation is the simplest one. Extraordinary claims requires extraordinary evidence. And for many critics, the evidence just simply isn't there.
But the other side of the argument is harder to dismiss.
6 witnesses interviewed separately across decades, telling essentially the same story, none of them collapsing under pressure, none of them admitting to a hoax. It was even reported that Philip Klass had tried to pay crew member Steve Pierce $10,000 to retract his story and claim that the whole thing was a hoax, but he didn't budge. None of them did. Not once.
The crew passed polygraphs regarding Travis' disappearance and possible murder.
And Travis returned alive after those 5 days, meaning that while they may have, that's the biggest thing, is that I see the polygraph test isn't necessarily true, but Travis came back and all their answers were true regarding that. Mm-hmm. So are we going to say that the UFO experience is the one that doesn't belong? It's a little bit strange. Medical findings complicated the idea that he had simply wandered through the forest, and the men involved were not celebrities or professional storytellers. They were loggers.
Working class men whose lives were turned upside down by the attention brought by this case. And yet, their story had never changed.
Yeah, there's another reason this case feels different than it did in 1975. Back then, UFO encounters were treated almost entirely as fringe stories. They were punchlines and late-night radio material.
But in recent years, that conversation changed dramatically. The U.S. Navy released footage of unidentified aerial craft. Pentagon programs have investigated UAPs for a long time.
Military pilots now have testified about encounters with objects that outperform any known aircraft. Members of Congress have held hearings discussing the possibility of non-human technology, or as they refer to it, non-human biologics. None of that proves Walton's story, but it does something important. It opens the door to the possibility that the universe may be stranger than we once assumed.
And it forces us to reconsider stories that we weren't once dismissed outright.
This is where we show our hand a little bit. And after digging through the details of this case, the witnesses, the investigations, the arguments, I find it difficult to dismiss completely. Could it be a hoax? Of course. That possibility has existed and always does exist. But the longer you study the case, the harder it becomes to explain away the consistency of the witnesses.
6 men maintaining the same story for nearly 50 years, super unusual, especially when money is involved. Especially when people are offered money, And when you place that story in context of everything we've learned about UAPs in recent years, it becomes even harder to ignore. 6 witnesses are a lot.
Yeah, which brings us to the real question that keeps this case alive. What if they were telling the truth?
What if someone really was hovering above the clearing in the forest? What if Travis really did wake up somewhere that wasn't Earth?
Because if even one story like this is real, then the implications are enormous. It means that humanity may not be alone, and it means that the universe might be far stranger than we've ever imagined. So, before we close this one out, let's throw a few questions on the table. If 6 people maintain the same story for 50 years, does that increase credibility or just mean the hoax held together? Would you rather believe the Walton story is true or that it's one of the most elaborate lies ever told?
And if something like this happened today with smartphones, satellites, and cameras everywhere, would we finally have proof, or do we still argue about it?
Maybe the Walton case is a hoax. Maybe it's a misunderstanding, or maybe just maybe. One night in 1975, a group of loggers saw something humanity wasn't supposed to see, and one of them got too close. Jamie, what do you think about this case?
I think it's real. It's hard to believe it's not real. Like, there's no way 6 people are going to, like, when money's involved or anything, are going to stay to their story unless they, like, truly believe in it.
I think it's the reason why it matters and why it's such a big deal to me is that, like we've talked about, like UFO sightings and stuff like that are hard to, let's say, even trust. Like, even like we asked earlier, like in this modern age, if we were able to be provided with video evidence of it, would we believe it? Like, I am more inclined to believe, this is super weird, that 6 people can testify to this than seeing a video of it myself.
Mm-hmm.
In the modern age, because of AI and all this stuff, I am absolutely convinced, just because these guys don't change their story. And it's absolutely insane to think that these guys are that tight that they would maintain this lie for that long and never ever break from it, despite all the pressure, despite the notoriety that they could get personally. Like, if you wanted to write a book about it, about how you were one of the guys in this experiment, you could be a bestseller just for blowing the whistle on it. But no one ever said anything about it.
Well, and also, like, Travis shows up 5 days later and he's not malnourished. He doesn't seem like he's been gone for a long time. He just seems spooked.
Well,
unless
and I've
he's
seen
sitting there eating snacks in the forest.
Yeah, I've seen the ideas of what it could look like for this thing being a hoax. There was apparently like a watchtower, a fire watchtower. We've seen them. For people that don't know, out in national forests, they will have fire watchtowers about every 100 miles, so that you can like see, they're above the tree line, so that you can see fires long ways away. And they're saying that near where they were working was a fire watchtower, and that they maybe had hung a UFO prop from one of these fire watchtowers and then had lights and stuff like that. They claimed that like Mike Rogers had left the scene early that day and was missing for most of the day, kind of thing. I think this is all coming out after the fact, and it's kind of, I don't see any credible stuff on the disproving it side. We have these witnesses that this is what they say happened. It's crazy to think that 6 individual people would come up with the same story, not once, but for 50 years.
Also, the fact that like Travis just says that they fucked up. They didn't mean to hit him, and then they saw like they brought him on board to repair it and fix it.
Yeah, it wasn't even supposed to be an abduction. It's not like they took him on board to like probe at him or whatever. Like we are typical, like what happens to, you know, abductees where they report like, oh yeah, they did weird shit to me. And I feel like it's almost always the case they're trying to get their cum. We don't hear any reports of that. We hear like him waking up and then him passing the fuck back out again and not remembering anything. And he's gone for 5 days. It's just nuts. Yeah. This is my favorite UFO case. I'm so happy you recommended we cover this.
You're welcome. No, it's super interesting. That's why more people need to know more information about it. What'd you do?
Oh, I just opened a beer. Or I had to take it out of the 6-pack. And Nosferatu is a little precariously perched here, so I'm just happy it didn't fall over.
Nice. All right. Well, with that being said, I think that's a wrap up here. We wrap that baby up. So please like and subscribe. It's a wrap. We love you. Listen. Please stay weird
and stay wicked. And most importantly, stay wasted.